Alright, and we're back. Where was I? Anyways. You've got some good stuff. We are missing a few things. It's important too. Still can't get to the Deku tree because we don't have a Kokiri sword. That Kokiri sword, however you wanna pronounce it. Let's get some health first. Oh fuck, that's not helping. Hold on a second. Yeah, I was always forgetting something. In this case, I forgot speech chat, so I can hear, your comments. So today I want to kind of start doing something a bit different. If you like actually follow my streams or go on my Discord, you've probably noticed I've been streaming on just YouTube half the time, or like just a lot more in general. If you don't follow my streams on YouTube and you went to my Discord, I have that below, of course, as usual. But I ignore my website. I still haven't finished it. It's been like a running thing for some reason. I really need to count actually having things on there. There's still a lot of stuff I want to do, gaming aside. But anyways, for streams, I want to actually just sort of separate streams from like putting effort into things in a way versus ones where I'm just more so progressing through a game and where they might not be really as interesting or engaging or whatever. So yeah, basically Twitch is just a good orange and YouTube is the poopy boring streams. Well, we'll see how this goes anyways. But yeah, we've been at this randomizer for a while, and what are we at now? Like 15 out of 30 Triforce pieces or something? Please, or we even check that? Let me see if I can increase my volume, I guess. I'm at the same volume I've always been at, though. What about the game volume? Oh, that's great to know. Okay, well, I can't get the game up. The audio to record the game. Okay, what about now? Is it loud enough? Am I loud enough? Okay. Alright. Yeah, I'm fine. Anyways, anyways, that brings me to the topic I want to talk about, which is this game, Ocarina of Time. This is probably a good one to start with because I've always really had a lot to say about it, and not just good things. I mean, a lot of conflicting thoughts about it more so. And I think there's a lot of people out there who probably feel similar-ish, despite having played and be in this game multiple times, even tens of times over. So I'm not gonna go and say Ocarina of Time is a bad game, of course. Like, I'm playing it right now, albeit through a randomizer, because I'm too tired of the regular game, as it is normally. But clearly there's probably gonna be a lot of things I like about it if I'm coming back to it, right? Of course, I also think there's things it could do so much better. Especially if we could get a remake. A redone remake. Not like the 3DS one, but an actual, like, remake with improvements. But I know there's gonna be people who are like, Ocarina of Time is perfect as it is. It doesn't need anything changed. But I mean, personally, I just want to also mention what I think could make it so much more satisfying instead of leaving me unfulfilled or even almost a bit disappointed. Yeah, okay, no, hold on, what should we... I didn't check what songs he's... Okay, yeah. If sorry, songs we can go to the, whatever his name, Mido? Who blocks the path to the forest meadow? Is that like an intentional name thing? Okay, oh, well, yeah, so... One of the biggest things I feel is disappointing that I want to get out there is something I really hear people ever talk about or really articulate well, and that's how much potential the combat has. You have, like, let me see. So you have, like, We have horizontal. Yeah, I have enemies randomized. You have horizontal slashes. You have the other horizontal direction. You have vertical slashes. You have stabs. You know, I have different types of... Yeah. Well, yeah, you have these attacks, and there's even a dojo in Majora's Mask that goes over how to do every specific swipe, and like a tutorial fashion, but then you never end up even really using them. There's no point in having them, and you eventually in the games they just get rid of them altogether by the time they get to Breath of the Wild, which is another disappointment for another game altogether. I really wish at some point this series in general could have leaned into it more. Skyward Sword actually shows great examples of how this could have worked, but it uses motion controls instead. I'd like to see enemies like Skyward Sword's enemies basically in a game like Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. I mean Ocarina of Time. I always pronounce that the wrong way. Where you would have to make use of horizontal and vertical slashes without motion controls. I feel like that's the kind of thing Ego Rapper might have meant, or at least how I interpreted it in his infamous sequelitis video, which I'm gonna have to reference and bring up every now and then. When he went on about Z targeting, I think, and how he mentioned they could have made an entire game about that, the Z targeting or whatever. I have to totally agree with that. And maybe he meant what I interpreted that as. Maybe he didn't. But I'm just saying that's something I always feel just a bit annoyed about when playing. There's so much that could have been done on Z targeting that just isn't done. It's like potentially entering another mode of gameplay would have sacrifices the potential to try to force it to work in non-combat mode. You know, with the puzzle solving stuff. But yeah, he is. I do agree that he's terrible at Ocarina of Time and a lot of games actually. Yeah, his gameplay was pretty infuriating when it came to both Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. But I still think a lot of his points stand. I think it's unfair to say just because his gameplay is terrible doesn't mean that but I can't at least interpret a way that I can agree with. Oh no, that's my favorite Zelda too. I agree with that. I think it does kind of do a little bit more with the moveset. But still not quite like significantly. So I know this is going to sound stupid to some people, but this is just an extreme example of what I imagine could be possible. Like imagine if instead enemies were handled more like JRPG encounters, but instead of some turn-based combat system, you just Z target them and enter like borderline fighting game mode. Maybe that sounds exactly the same as what the game already is, but it's more about the approach. where I would also have obstacle types of enemies separated from needing to be locked onto. Like the eye thing that shoots lasers at you. That enemies like that where they're more involved with the puzzle itself, being handled separately from how real challenging enemies are. Like, I don't know, the Iron Knuckle, for example. I'd have bats. I'd prefer to have bats handled differently too, but I'm not exactly sure what solution there would be for bats either, personally. I'm just giving an example. Again, I know it's what down the further I go in, but just for an example, an extreme example, of course. Imagine if when you Z-target an enemy, suddenly you have like Soul Calibur 2 movesets. Maybe a more simplified version for those who don't like fighting games, but maybe have it change how some items are used. I mean, Z-targeting already changes how the bow or aimed weapons are used entirely anyways. But, like in Soul Calibur 2, you have the bomb kind of roll towards enemies instead of having Link pick it up and throw it at people, There could be different ways to have it used in combat scenarios. But anyways, you undo Z-targeting and you return back to the exploration mode of the game. Obviously a full-on fighting game type of moveset. That'd be overkill for most of the Ocarina of Time enemies there are, but again, it's just an extreme example of how far I could take things. And this is a really crazy setup right here, though. I'm really liking this. If it were like this. I wish Master Quest was more like this. Like, and that's kind of like what I'm talking about, almost. This is a perfect, like, scenario for what I'm talking about, almost. But I wish there were more enemies that made it possible. And naturally, at least I'd hope, that also come with fewer, weaker enemies in areas with puzzles, and more strong enemies in areas more fit for combat. With the exception of, again, like enemies that are more like obstacles, like the beam guy. The eye beam guy. I'd want less minor annoyance enemies that just stop you for a moment in annoying places, and more threatening enemies that don't conflict with the puzzle elements. And imagine the possibilities of what more challenging enemies there could be with a better, or a more worked on, involved combat system. And maybe also throw in a way to more easily switch between enemies, which enemies you're targeting as well. Because they can also be a pain in a lot of Zelda games with Z-targeting. When too many enemies are close together and you try to lock onto one, but it locks you onto the wrong one, and it just kind of gets annoying when that happens. There's already potential to use the left and right C buttons to change which enemy you're locked onto, while having the D-pad be for items, but I know that solution would be a terrible option for the original N64 controller. This is just more of a what if, but yeah, that's my own vision of the kind of thing I'd like to see in a Zelda game. Not exactly like that, I'm saying, but just leaning more into that potential because, my favorite battles, like most people, are ones like with Dark Link. probably going a little off topic there on more with what I'd like to see Zelda do, with my own idealized vision of it, though, rather than actually talking about Ocarina of Time itself. I get that there's only so much you can expect from one of the first 3D games like this, and it gets a lot of credit for even just having targeting. Still, it's just too bad that there's not much use for it. Or at least the moves, you know, the different swings that you have. Oh, good night. Hold on, let me see. Do you think there's like fuck? You think there's a good way to switch like in Z targeting? If there is a better way to switch between enemies in Z targeting, I don't know it. Let me know what you meant by that. The fuck is that? Oh yeah, invisible skeleton thing. Skeleton spider. Is it called a Skulltula? The same way the smaller one should held. That works. There's 2 enemies, but even then, like, it doesn't work if you have it set to hold down. Yeah, that's because you're using the not held version. I have it set to hold, so if I hold it down, it's gonna stay on that warn. So okay, it's 2 separate issues really, depending on which mode you choose, which way you set it to handle Z targeting. And I'm just going by my case because I use the health down version. You can switch between enemies if you have it set to hold, or to not hold, I mean. But even then, that creates the issue of doing the Z targeting. And that only works with 2 enemies, so not if you have like 3 enemies at once. Not that it happens often where you do have like 3 enemies surrounding you. But it's still a little bit of an issue. Well, yeah, it's not a major issue with what you have to work with in the game to begin with anyways, because there's rarely going to be times where you have a bunch of enemies surrounding you. But that also limits it from having more things sometimes, I guess. It is an issue sometimes, every now and then. Like, in the beginning of the cave, where I was at. But, yeah. So, moving on from something nobody even talks about. I'll just quickly give my thoughts on the biggest thing most people are aware of. And that is, of course, going to be both metaphorically and literally the biggest thing, which is Hyrule Field. And with the ton of space going on in the game, it's very spacey. Yeah, so from someone who played Ocarina of Time as a kid, who only had the N64 for a long while growing up, and who grew up around that era, I have to say I don't mean other people are lying about their experiences or anything either. But personally, I never once thought like, wow, they really pushed the hardware there. Like, no, as a kid, even as a kid, I thought more like, why does this field have to be so big? There's nothing in it. I will say though, I grew up playing Majora's Mask first before Ocarina, so I might have been a bit spoiled by that too. Well, I played Castlevania 64 before Ocarina, and the first level of that is almost definitely significantly bigger than Hyrule Field, without feeling like it's not even without a reason. You know, despite so many people always throwing hate at that game at Castlevania 64 for whatever reason nowadays. So, personally, I've always been a bit skeptical on how people say Hyrule Field was supposedly mind-blowing, quote-unquote, when it came out. I can't say I personally felt that way, and I doubt anyone nowadays is going to be blown away by the size of Hyrule Field and how empty it is. So, I think personally it was a decision that didn't age well. Making it so big. I think if we got another remake though, there's a lot that could be done with it, and I'd really like to see a version of Ocarina's Hyrule Field to be expanded on. Well, not expanded, of course, as I said, it's already big, but just like filled up with more things to find. Caves with treasure, side quests. I have a whole mapped out concept of ideas I'd like to see for it. Hold on, wait. I'm gonna show. Let me get. I have a picture. Or yeah, I just like put this together like a few days ago in not Photoshop. Clip Studio Paint. Wait, let me move this down a little bit. So like, those are just some ideas of how things could be added to Hyrule Field, or how I would personally change it anyways. Maybe someone can mod them into the game or something, or maybe I can someday, but I have no clue how to do that personally. I don't know how to mod the game, but yeah. Maybe I should get some health, or fairies, I mean. Some fairies before I... now it'll be fine. We gotta get good. Alright, I forgot to mention also that these aren't just randomized enemies, these are also double speed enemies. A bit late to answer that though, from way back when someone mentioned or asked about their randomized. friggin' heck? Oh, and there's Dark Link. Let's ignore him. Again. Just make some a little bit extra fire. So in Raptor's Equalitis video, there's also this whole section about the puzzles where you look around for the switch or whatever. Observation puzzles? Is that what they're called? Well, you know, where you have to stop and look for, say, like a switch on the ceiling. Let me tell you, the last place anyone that's gonna look in a game is up. That's just... It just doesn't come natural to us without some kind of clue, like a sound coming from above. Like Queen Goma makes, or unless you see like a liquid dripping from above, like in a horror movie, or a monster shooting from above you. Maybe, I mean, there's other ways to do hints for that too, but they aren't really done in Ocarina of Time when you have a switch above you. So anyways, yeah, I don't entirely disagree either, but I know there's a lot of arguments to be made, I guess, against it. I don't know, maybe it's a preference, but I guess I want to get this out of the way first. I have nothing against easy puzzles. That's how you should build up to harder puzzles. I have nothing against the quote-unquote nothing puzzles. And I want to clear up that those are not what I'm referring to when I say observation puzzles. Next, I get that Zelda is all about exploration. I love exploration in games, but exploration to me is actually moving the character place to place, not stopping in place and looking at the ceiling for a while and also not knowing when to. I think observation puzzles where you have to stop what you're doing to find something hidden from view without some kind of hint. I don't like that. I think it's dumb. That's my take on that. Yeah, this one here though, like, that's also not what I'm talking about. Because this is actually a good example of that, if anything. But it's not really like looking at the ceiling either, you know? Like, yeah, you have to look a little bit. You have to look around a little bit to see. Yeah, there's a silver rupee over there, for example. And then figure out how to move this block. Which is like I would call this an observation puzzle still. But not in that way. This is one of the good ones. You could say, I guess, I might have to start over on this one. Let's despawn it and respawn it. Can you actually focus a little bit? can't tell for certain if this will stop it or not. Let's just find out. There it goes. I... Can I make the jump over there? There we go. And in that one Eno Raptor video, he also mentions how the game is like a Disney ride or something. And I agree with that too, but I'm not sure it wasn't the best choice at the time. I can see that it's not only intentional, but why it was intentional. At the end of the day, Ocarina of Time does its best at being an RPG, a role-playing game, just as how Link's name can be the player's name and is meant to be the quote-unquote link between the player and the game. And when he argues about things like the illusion of treacherousness, and in places like the Fire Temple where you can jump over pits of lava with almost no effort, I feel like that's part of why it's such a well-liked game too. The game tries to make you feel like you are the hero of time, without having to have any real skills. Whether that's a bad thing or not is subjective, but it certainly... that would have appealed to kids who played it back in the day and more casual gamers who make up the majority of people even now. While I personally prefer Majora's Mask, it sets out to do something totally different, which probably set a lot of my preferences, and that's probably why I don't like Ocarina as much, personally. Despite what people say about its slow start, it has you fighting this giant monster, Queen Goma, in a quicker time frame than it takes for you to get to the first boss in any other Zelda that I can think of. The game tells you who you are and what you need to do, and it tries to put you on this metaphorical ride where, like, any kid can feel like a hero in a magical, rolled narrative. No. Nope. Oh, come on. No. Okay, it's over. It's over. That situation got worse and worse until it got insurmountable. That was... For anyone that doesn't know, rebids at double speed are just a death sentence. You will die and you have no way to fight back once they see you. Okay, well, we got to the end pretty much. We're like right there. But yeah, what was I saying? I want to also clarify that Eoraptor having a problem with these things is stupid. I think these are actually good. Good obstacle design. You can see that. If you don't see the speak, you can hear it. You can hear this. And if you don't see it coming, that's on you. Okay, that was my... My icicles, on the other hand... Whatever. Okay, so what was I saying? Shoots. It wasn't just about immersion into the role, but specifically into the story. You don't need to know what the NPCs do in their daily life. Unlike Majora's Mask, where everything revolves around all the things around you. And although you're still the hero, you're not the same kind of hero, like in Ocarina of Time. You're more like a wandering adventurer, going around helping people. The first thing that happened to you in Majora's Mask is you get your shit stolen from you. It's more about getting lost and deciding what you want to do, I think, which is way different from Ocarina of Time and how it follows the hero's monomyth. Another thing I've always had a preference against to a T. Maybe I'll go into that more some other day as its own topic. But, yeah. And I almost died. Again. Don't criticize me too much. It is harder to do things while talking. Fuck. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. You gotta go around. Now, one for the heart. Yeah, this is why I like random encounters in here. And I don't just mean like the encounters actually being random is actually pretty exciting. Especially with the main character and all. Wow. But yeah. For what it's worth, before the Wii came out, I used to do this thing with another person where one person would stand in front with a fake sword and shield, while another person... Man, I am... starting to regret not getting fairies. But I need the blue fires too, so... I'll just get a warm fairy and I'll keep warm blue fire. But yeah, I used to, we used to, like, pretend we were Link. And, like, swing the sword at a fake Master Sword, a wooden one. I don't know how I got it or when. I forgot. Maybe my older brother made it or something. But yeah, I didn't do that for any other game pretty much. Not even Majora's Mask. And that's because I think that Ocarina of Time is just... It's just better at putting you in the position of the hero character. Of Link. Mainly, especially from a storytelling perspective. When I go over here... and you go this way. What? There's the fairy fountain. I don't even remember what the fairy fountains are now. I need to remember that. When everything's closed, right? I have a good idea for the most part where everything is. And up here is Death Mountain. Wait, shit. No, it's the desert. Okay, I was wrong. But, there's this wall here, and we can bomb it, I think. Never mind. I need bomb shoes, too. I think everything Ocarina of Time does is very intentional in uh you know uh like a lot of the things people get annoyed about when it comes to like text and stuff, like shut up, Navi. I think in a way, even though people dislike it, it would have helped for younger players that want to actually take that role. Yes, finally. Berries. Berries. You can still hear some of the instruments from down the mountain only there. Right, now you've got this. Maybe the disappointment with Ocarina of Time wasn't really a problem with the game itself. Maybe it's more an issue with the fact that people feel like they have to keep coming back to it, despite its flaws and despite how much it's aged, and the fact that it's a game as old as it is, because nothing else really gives the same feeling still. At least not that I can think of. People are gonna say, well, there's always Twilight Princess, or there's even, I don't know, Dark Souls, but that's missing the point. It's not just about the gaming aspects either. Ocarina of Time isn't just a game about adventure. It has its like ups and downs in the story, and even if you don't pay attention to the story, it's reflected in the atmosphere. It's not about being dark or overcoming impossible odds. It's not just about being immersive to the point where you only have a story for every NPC, or having to go into role building where you're told about politics of Hyrule or anything not directly related to your adventure. It comes with moments that make you want to leave the TV on while you sleep, you know? At least if you, if you had it back in the day. And I can't think of many games quite like that in that aspect. Wonder how many people kept the game on, like in Lon Lon Ranch. Okay, we're approaching the boss finally. Oh shit. We've got the Wall Master lurking around here too now. Okay, the boss here could be anything. It could be an Iron Knuckle, or it could be Dark Link, or it could be just a ah, fuck, damn it. Theory's not gonna save me with the Wall Master. Oh great, one of these guys. Yeah, that's what I would call an obstacle enemy. You don't really have to Z-target him. And he gets in the way, like... And now that makes it almost like a puzzle. I think in atmosphere and colors and stuff, I think Ocarina of Time was just right. Especially, specifically the 3DS remake. Like, it really captures the original pretty well, I think, when it comes to that too. It's not too dark like Twilight Princess, and it's not too bright like Wind Waker. And it has a lot of just really, really good atmosphere and stuff. I want more games like it. Oh wow, yeah, that was the boss, okay. Okay, now what do we finally get after all this? The big reveal. Let's go. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Oh, oh, fake out. Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one, actually. I've not seen any treasures in here so far until now. That has 2 treasures. What a troll moves. Alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop here after I get out. After I get off this ice. So I'm back on solid ground in a second. Alright, that'll be it for today. Now we made progress, luckily. Luckily it turned out to be Zelda's lullaby, and that's really important. We have a lot of new places we can go to now. But yeah, that'll be it, so see ya. Thanks for joining. To the 2 people left.